Lost Art with Andrew Cox, retired Master Gunnery Sergeant. thelostart.podbean.com. Get some merchandise and help support the podcast and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Now on all major podcast platforms. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be a guest, tell your veteran story, discuss your veteran business or organization. Email The Lost Art with Andrew Cox at gmail.com. Andrew Cox, a Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. See the project story at tillvalhallaproject.com. Thanks for tuning in. Please enjoy the podcast that's giving a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Today's episode is brought to you by TrumpShirt.com. TrumpShirt.com is a veteran-owned business where 100% of the proceeds goes to disabled veterans and veteran organizations. Support your veterans by purchasing a shirt at TrumpShirt.com. Use the promo code TLA and get free shipping. That's TrumpShirt.com, promo code TLA.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we're having a My Veteran Story with Lynwood King. But before we get into that, are you enjoying the podcast? And go to the Lost Art website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check it out. See what we got going on there. There is a merchandise tab. Click on that merchandise tab. Go get you a hat, a shirt, something cool like that. And help support us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. I also want to give a shout out to the Till Valhalla Project. There's a cool hat that they have, but they do some incredible work in honoring our fallen heroes. So go to their website, tillvalhallaproject.com. Go check them out, see what they're all about. And if you can help support them, please do so. All right. With that, I got Lynwood here. How you doing?
Good. First, you did great just now, man. That whole segment without messing up, I'd have been like, hold on, let's do it again. Hold on. That's awesome, man. That's great.
I've done one or two
since
I
was
started.
good.
So not quite a year in, but I've got that part down.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
All right.
So I guess let's just start at the beginning then.
Okay. Let's
go where you grew up and then kind of what drew you to military service.
I grew up here in San Antonio, Texas. My father was an Army Airborne, and my parents got divorced when I was 8. And the biggest, meanest man I ever met in my life was my stepdad.
Oh, wow.
He's like 6'2", 6'3", giant combat medic.
Yeah.
The contrast between him and my father, my dad was an alcoholic and he was a good man, but he had a few problems.
Mm-hmm.
This man came in and kind of showed me integrity, right, hard work, discipline. And the trajectory of my life changed by meeting him. He was a good master sergeant in the Army, retired. He was training these guys over here at Fort Sam and at Cambolis, just the combat medics. And,
right.
I grew up in San Antonio. I got in trouble. I was living with my dad. After they divorced, I was living with my father for a while. And daddies don't care too much what you do out here. My dad would come home wasted, drunk, and I'd have the house to myself, or my sister and I would be there, and I'd run amok.
Yeah.
No discipline. My parents, when they got divorced, I met my stepdad. First, I hated him.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to live with him. I lived with my father. And I got myself into bad trouble.
Yeah.
And I had to move with my stepdad and my mom in Poteet, Texas. Okay. And they were, that was rough because I had freedom. I could do whatever I want, but under his roof, he was military.
Yeah.
His rules, he would everything was immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't sneak out. He put toothpicks on the windows to make sure.
Oh, wow.
And he always had a way of finding out if we did something wrong. One story was he grounded me and my sister, went to work, and it was a rodeo.
Yeah.
And my mom was pretty easy. She was like, well, y'all can go to the rodeo, but just come back before he gets off to work. So we get home one day and he's watching 5 o'clock news.
Yeah.
And guess who he sees walk across the screen at the rodeo?
Oh, no.
Me and my sister. Yeah. He was very hard on me up until I turned around 17. I got saved.
Okay.
I gave my heart to Jesus.
Very nice.
And changed my life. That was the big change in my life too. And that kind of brought us he realized I was trying to get my life together.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed interest in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And my first exposure to a Marine was when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. My neighbor his father was a Marine, and he had his dress blues hanging above the fireplace with his American flag.
Yeah.
So it always stuck with me. And I told my pop, I said, I want to be a Marine. And he didn't like that too much.
Oh, because he is Army, right?
Yeah, well,
so
that and also I'm not a combat veteran.
Yeah.
But a lot of combat veterans will tell you, he didn't like the idea of me going to war.
Yeah.
So he went in his closet and he pulled out these photo albums of all the photos of the trauma from Vietnam.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Grenade blast patients that he'd worked on.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just letting me see it. And he was, this is what you want. This is what you want to do. And I was set on it. I was like, I want to be a Marine. I want to fight for my country. I had grandiose ideas of what it was to be a Marine. I had to do it. And again, I went off and joined the Marines at 17. And I was delayed. You ever heard of the delayed program?
Delayed entry.
Yeah, delayed entry. So I just waited that year and took off the boot camp.
Nice. Okay.
July 13th, 1992.
Okay. 92. Yeah. All right. And then what were you joining to do? What was your job?
When my understanding of the Marines was we're all going to, I didn't understand the MOS stuff.
Yeah.
I just knew I wanted to be a Marine. So when I joined, my recruiter told me, so I had done drugs.
Yeah.
I dabbled in drugs a little bit. He says, don't tell them you did drugs.
Right.
I was like, so in boot camp, they had the moment of truth.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And they broke me.
Oh, no.
They broke me. I was scared. They're like, we're going to pull your hair out and go back like 10 years and we'll find out every drug you. So I was like, I did some drugs. And I don't know what that did, but it launched me into, I guess, a MOS that was for druggies. Or guys that probably experimented with drugs. That was around a lot of chemicals. So I was able to, I got into defensive mapping.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with defensive mapping?
Not really, no.
So back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, they used maps.
Yeah.
And basically, they taught me how to make maps and how to lay them out and go through the whole media process of creating not just maps, but anything, SOPs. I worked in a dark-green developing film on a big camera.
Wow.
So it was cool, but I was proud of it.
Yeah.
I was a Marine.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to do was be a Marine. So I went to boot camp, got married right after boot camp.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My high school sweetheart, got married right after boot camp. I think maybe every Marine does this, or every guy that goes off with their high school sweetheart. I came back, got married. I was in boot camp, graduated, came here and got married.
So you was like on boot leave.
Yeah. But the first red flag was she didn't go to my boot camp graduation. I should have caught that. I should have caught that. But I got married and then I went to Marine combat trainings. Then I got sent to Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
Okay.
In DC for a year. So it was a 1 year, it was 2 schools for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it.
Before we get into that, let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So joining the Marine Corps, you go off to boot camp. So talk to me a little bit about your boot camp experience and the good, the bad, whatever it is you want to talk about.
Boot camp was, I felt like it was a dream.
Yeah.
When I got there, I remember just staying up for 2 days straight, no sleep, getting yelled at, and you just had to. I feel like Forrest Gump. Like I fit right in, man. I just like fit right in. But because of my religious beliefs, they made me a scribe.
Yeah.
So I was a Protestant scribe. That got me into trouble because I'm very confident and very outspoken about my faith.
Yeah.
And so boot camp was just one of those things where when they made me a scribe, I guess you have to have a certain amount of time. You have to pray or give the religious guys their time during the night.
Right. Yeah.
And I would pray, bro. I would pray in my drill shirt and walk around my rack. Hurry up. And they would just like get on me. But that was just part of my life.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it. Boot camp was awesome. mean, I'm sure you hear all the funny stories of recruits just imitating drill instructors.
Yeah.
Drill instructors walking in and catching them, and then just getting killed. And, you know, it was just I think everyone can tell you it's probably the worst, best part of their lives. You know? Yeah. It's amazing the friendships you have. We had some guys get kicked out in boot camp because they're putting the freaking oil to clean our weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what you called it.
CLP.
Yeah, CLP. They put CLP oil in some recruit's canteen. And I don't know how the drill instructors found out.
Whoa.
But I remember being online one morning and they called two guys up and they called the other recruit to have him get his canteen. He poured it out, CLP. And then they kicked those two dudes out.
Wow.
There was just no idea why someone would do that, and that's just one of my memories of that.
That is crazy.
But one of my favorite memories is being out in the field and at Fire Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at Camp Pendleton. Yeah. I was second phase recruit training, and I felt God telling me, tell everyone in the platoon that Jesus knows them. So it was probably 3 a.m. at Fire Watch, and I wrote on 50 sheets of paper. I did it. And during the night, I went to every hooch and I put it in every hooch, even my drill instructor's hooch.
Oh, wow.
And then I kept my Fire Watch going the next morning. King, get over here. I went over there. He just killed me. I still got this. He was making me do push-ups on my knuckles.
Yeah.
Run, drop on the rocks. I still got the scars.
Oh my gosh.
And I was bleeding and I was running and blood's coming in my knuckles, and there was a freaking Navy foreman sitting there smiling at me. Like, you're stupid. And but I don't know. The drill started respecting me for some reason after that. They gave me the hardest time and ended up being like, it was cool.
Yeah.
And went through and finished. It was great.
Well, it sounds like a fun experience.
Yeah, it was good. It was hard, but it was good.
Yeah.
Rewarding.
So leaving boot camp, and you came home, got married.
Yeah.
And then you go back for Marine combat training. How was that for you? Was it pretty?
Well,
easy, or?
It was good. So I came back home, got married, and on my flight back to Camp Pendleton, I was in my service Alphas, the green uniform, and I was wearing my rifle badge,
right,
my little National Defense Medal or ribbon, and I had my sea bag, and I still had the mentality of a recruit. You're still kind of scared of everything. You're a Marine, but you see a PFC, you're kind of like. And I was carrying my sea bag in the airport. It knocked my freaking rifle badge, took the little pin off.
Oh no, yeah.
Broke it, dangling. And I got to Camp Pendleton with a dangling rifle badge, and I was so scared. We went to check in. I ran to the store and bought a new badge. But then I realized that the MCT, you weren't a recruit. You still got yelled at and treated kind of like crap. But there was no one over your shoulder yelling at you, screaming about you. Yeah. So that was cool. That was fun. A good memory at MCT was we were out in the field for a couple of weeks, and we did like a 14-mile hike. And I got back to the hooches, and I was so hungry. Yeah, I was so thirsty. And there's this dude walking around with Domino's pizza, real personal pizza. He's a delivery guy. And I asked for one, and I got the Domino's with Coke, and I've been chasing that feeling ever since. The feeling of that pizza and the Coke and how good it tastes after being out in the field for 2 weeks and coming home off of the hump, and that's the best food. I always want to eat. I want to experience that again. I'm always looking for that feeling.
Yeah. It's got to be good, Yeah. It's hard to top.
Yeah, it is. It is. Those experiences are. You can't talk over them.
It's funny. All right. So after MCT, you're off to your school in Fort Belvoir. Okay. And now you were there for a year.
Yeah.
So did your wife go with you?
I know. Well, I got there in November, and so I checked in, and I just talked to my platoon sergeant, and I talked to the gunnery sergeant in charge, and they said since I was there a year, they didn't see a problem bringing her. So, I came back home and we drove up there, and it's weird for a married young couple, especially when, especially the wife.
Oh yeah.
For me, I was busy. I was training and I was trying to build a career. My whole dream was I wanted to be a career Marine. That was my dream. I wanted to stay in and retire. And so when you're out there on the grind and you have a teenage wife who doesn't know anything, and she's out there, I look at it a little differently than I had before because I have a little more empathy. So I've been married 3 times. So
Okay.
I look at my first wife and think, okay, she was a kid. I understand that.
Yeah.
Because you're busy doing your thing when then Jody's gonna come around.
Yeah.
And that kind of happened. But being out in Belvoir was are you Marine? Marine? Yeah. So you ever been on an Army base or Air Force base?
Yeah.
So being at our MOS training, defense mapping in Belvoir, being that we're Marines, our platoon sergeant always made sure you let everyone know we're Marines.
Yeah.
By killing us every morning.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first ones out doing PT. We'd go have chow, go to training, come back from chow, do another session of PT, and then we'd come back and go in the sand pits and do combat, stuff that we didn't even have to do. But since we were on an Army base, he wanted all the freaking Army dogs to know that we were Marines.
Right. Yeah.
And it was good for us because it made us strive to be excellent. But at the same time, it was like, dude, come on, this isn't freaking boot camp. This is like MOS. Corporal Morgan was his name. He was our platoon sergeant, Corporal Morgan. He was freaking crazy. He was there for a secondary, I think, right? On a second, he was doing some sort of other training. He was like, he didn't even have us do freaking paintball wars.
Really?
Yeah. Like we have mandatory paintball wars just to practice what we learned in freaking combat training. It was fun. It was fun, but it was crazy. Yeah, but it was a sense of pride you had. You had that pride. And I was private. I got there before my wife came, and I was crapped on. I was all the PFCs were treating me like crap. I was cleaning the head, doing laundry. I was buffing the halls. I was doing all that crap, and I had to prove myself. So my first course, man, I busted my butt and got honor graduate.
Oh, nice.
So I went from private to Lance Corporal.
Oh, wow.
Like I had just got PFC and boom, Lance Corporal.
So it's a meritorious promotion for honor grad.
Yeah. So
very nice.
And I got this. It was super cool, and I was very happy about that. But at the same time, my peers did not like that.
Yeah.
Because now I had more responsibility. I wasn't the one having to clean the heads and do all this work, and it was cool. It was a sense of pride. And then my second schooling, I got honor graduate again. And it was just like, I had to prove a point. I love the Marine Corps. I wanted to go in there and be the best I could, regardless of what task they gave me. Right. I wanted to be the best I could because I was a Marine. And it was important for me. Yeah. So
honor grad out of the second school as well.
Yeah.
Now, was there another promotion out of that one?
No. I don't know. They gave me another plaque.
Okay.
I have several plaques with the honor graduates from the colonel that was in charge. I think the second one was a really nice plaque, though. It was like, really, really cool. So I had my wife with me there, and it was rough because, again, when you're focused on building something, you think she's coming along, and I think as husbands we just tend to forget. Yeah. Even now, I've been married to my wife for 10 years, and I still get hustling, busy working.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But when you're young, you're kind of like, you just don't know. You don't see the signs. You're just busy doing your thing. So I got stationed to Camp Pendleton. Okay. Took my my first wife with me. Went home, got all that stuff, Camp Pendleton. And that's when you realize in the fleet, it's you just start to understand the different. You never until I was in the fleet, I didn't know what a grunt was. I didn't know what reconnaissance was. I didn't know. All I knew was I'm a Marine. Yeah, I made it, and we were so freaking. My peers and I, the guys I went to school with, we were so ingrained in our head that just being a Marine was like, you had to do everything at the highest level.
Yeah.
Everything, no matter what. So I remember doing our job, me in a dark room, and I'd be doing PT in the dark room, waiting for film to develop. Just,
oh wow!
The gap, just trying to, because we wanted to be the best at everything. And then you got the competition of, Pogue, Grunt, everyone. There's always something. So we had our head, okay, we're gonna have to prove ourselves no matter what. And so, anything that came up for volunteer work, who wants to volunteer to go to the range? Who wants to volunteer to go do security? Who wants to volunteer to go spy rigging? Who wants to volunteer? And I was like on it anytime, because I was there in my MOS. I was creating SOPs. I was making maps. I was seeing all the fun things these guys were doing. And I was like, why aren't I doing that?
Yeah.
And
I just write about it.
Yeah. I wasn't even writing. I was just in chemicals, developing film and watching pictures and going, why aren't I doing that?
Yeah.
And we got to Las Pulgas one at the flight line. You know where Margaritaville is? Mm-hmm. The flight line right there?
Yeah.
So they used to do sniper training. Sniper school was there, and that
division schools was there.
So I remember we'd always watch that, and one day they had us go spy rig. They were testing. They used us as the testers for the guys that were rigging. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
so we just wanted to spy rig. So we're getting rigged up for spy rigging, and I got the idea that, man, I want to do this. I want to get out of what I'm doing, and I want to do what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
And I showed interest to my unit, my master sergeant, my top. And I was like, top, I want to. And I think when this is the sad thing, the good thing and the bad thing about my service. And maybe it's for you too. I don't know, but I wasn't playing politics. I wasn't hanging out with staff NCOs. I wouldn't drink. I was very strict. I was a Christian. I was very disciplined. I didn't want to sin. I was always physically and mentally, spiritually strong. And so I didn't hang out with anyone. I was just me, go home, do my job, excel, do everything, try and do the best I could.
Right.
So when I showed interest in that, I think it was insulting to them. I think they felt like I didn't think they were good enough. Like I thought less of what I was. And I didn't think less of what I was. I just thought I wanted more.
Yeah.
And so my master sergeant, my top, was discouraging me. I went to my chief warrant officer, and he was discouraging me. So I just went straight to reconnaissance company.
Oh, no kidding.
I went straight to recon company. I walked in and I asked to speak to the XO during my lunch break.
Wow.
I walked in there, and I've been running, getting up at 3-4 in the morning, running 6-12 miles a day. I was an excellent swimmer. I was working out. I was just trying my hardest. So I knew that's something I was going to do. I just felt in my heart.
Yeah.
So I walked right into the XO's office, not his office. I walked to, and I asked to speak to him.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't let me speak to him, but they sent me to First Sergeant Todd. And he was First Sergeant of the recon company. And I just said, First Sergeant, I really want to do this. And I was a corporal, and he says, "You're a corporal, man, and you're old. You're gonna if I let you do this, you're gonna compete with guys fresh out of boot camp, fresh out of SOI." And he's like, "You're too old, and you're a corporal. And what's your MOS?" And I told my MOS. He's like, "You're not even combat arms. What am I gonna do with you?" So I was like, "Well, let me try it." And so he says, "We're doing a screening 0300 at Las Pulgas Pool on whatever day it was. I forgot." And I went and told my top.
Yeah.
That didn't go well with my command, my freaking staff NCOs. They're pissed at me.
Yeah.
And top says, "I'm gonna let you do it, but if you get hurt, we're not covering you." Basically, if I go out there and break my arm, I guess he was trying to say the Marine Corps wouldn't take care of me, which didn't make sense to me. Now that I think about it, how can you say that?
He's trying to scare you.
Yeah.
So. Well, hey, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those are going to get you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know this guy cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. With that, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Stay motivated. Change your socks.